At one point in the early stages of this COVID-19 pandemic, you had gone on record to say that you had grown increasingly perturbed at the use of the term developing countries, in particular, how it was being used by various corporate and technological entities. Has that feeling abated at all, or is that a position you still hold?
Absolutely, yeah. No, I would say even more so. Before the pandemic, if I was ever doing like a corporate or Fortune 500 company character, I would use terms like that because I knew that's how they spoke. Developing countries, emerging markets was another one. Fourth quarter investment in emerging markets and developing countries. Just to have sort of a corporate ambient blather to a certain sketch. But I think during the pandemic, in the midst of all that, some of the more nefarious implications of a term like developing countries became apparent to a lot of people. Because if you have a developing country, by definition, you're going to have a developed country. So what does a developed country look like? Is that a country that has developed artificial intelligence? Is that the height of a developed country's intelligence and morality and even notion of progress? To hand over the human intellect to something that is antithetical not just to humanity, but to the natural world more broadly. And so I think during that time, when it came to those topics, I think a lot of my sketches and satires were becoming much more deliberate in their focus. I'm sorry, I forgot to press play on your other question. Hold on just a second. I should have had that queued up. I'm so sorry. Yes, here it is. I'm so sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. So the following is going to be an example of that.
The video? Yes, it is.
Right. Well, let's take a look at it then. Do you want to set this up at all?
No. I don't believe in setting things up. I think the piece should always speak for itself. And
Right. But that is sort of what we're doing now, anyway.
No, we're just hanging out, man.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, in that case, let's
check it out.
Hi everybody, it's Bill and Melinda Gates here of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. During this whole COVID-19 outbreak, I was talking to my wife and I was talking to my husband and we were thinking, just by being two married people, we were doubling our chances of either contracting or transmitting the COVID-19 virus. So we thought, why not use some of the technology that we have here at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and turn ourselves into one person called Bill and Melinda Gates and reduce our chances of catching COVID-19 by 50%. Now, I know a lot of you guys watching this don't have access to the sort of fancy technology that Bill and Melinda Gates have at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, but we got something almost just as good. Who likes vaccines? I scream, you scream, we all scream for vaccines. And normally now with a vaccine, you would try them out on these things called guinea pigs. And I don't really like guinea pigs. They're squirmy and slippery. You can't really hold them like you can a microchip, But we found some even cuter animals. They're called Africans. And we've got one right now on the Zoom Skype chat. Chief Yojimwe of the Umbumbugu people. Hello, Chief Yojimwe. Did you get the boxes of vaccines that we sent with the instructions on how to do them?
I did, yes, I did, Mr. and Mrs. Gates, and thank you so much for that. But Mr. and Mrs. Gates, I'm not sure that I want to take the vaccine or that even my people want to take the vaccine because we have been hearing that if you take the vaccine, you will all of a sudden want to work for Microsoft.
Oh, now who's been telling you that, Chief Yojimwe? If you read the conspiracy theorists like William Shakespeare or William Shatner, they're going to try to feed you a big old bologna sandwich. Don't take a bite. It's perfectly safe. And by the way, what's wrong with working for Microsoft? You get free pancakes, you get shoes that make you fly, you don't have to think for yourself.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Gates, I actually like thinking for myself, and besides, my life is not that bad. I don't have COVID-19 and, I'm the chief of a pretty big tribe.
Well, we're the chief of a big tribe as well.
Look, Mr. and Mrs. Gates, I really appreciate it, but we're just not interested in taking the vaccine. So, I don't know if you want me to send these back to you, or you will have to pay the postage.
Okay, Mr. Joe Jimbway, I hear you loud and clear. If you don't want to take the vaccines, you don't have to take them. But I think Melinda had something to ask you, don't you, Melinda? I sure do. Did you get that? Did you get that nice loaf of butternut squash bread I cooked in my own kitchen?
I did, Mr. and Mrs. Gates. Thank you so much for that. It looks very lovely and very tasty. And actually, I'm looking forward to having it tonight after I eat my zebra.
You haven't tried it yet. You gotta try it. Oh, she's a great cook. You're really gonna love that. Take a bite now.
Okay, yeah, I'll try it now. Yeah, it looks really good. I'll try it now.
He doesn't know we put the vaccine in the bread.
Very good. That reminds me, Mr. and Mrs. Gates, are you still looking for people at Microsoft?
Of course we're looking for people here at Microsoft. We're always looking for people at Microsoft. Come join the family. In fact, bring the whole country along.
Now, while Chiefio Jimbwe and the entire population of Africa go to work for Microsoft, let's see how Bill and Melinda redecorate the continent.
Quite interesting piece there. Now, what sort of response did you get for that piece at the time?
None at all.
None whatsoever.
Well, I haven't released it yet, so.
You've not released it yet.
No.
But I thought surely that's what we're doing now.
We're just hanging out, man.
Right.
Calm down.
So, are there any plans for you to release it outside of the context of us just hanging out as we are right now?
I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not entirely convinced that it's the right time. I think we're still so stupid from this culture war nonsense. I can imagine, one group of people watching it saying, you shouldn't wear the mud mask to do that character. And then another group will jump in and say, what's the matter, Snowflake? You triggered? Of course you should wear the mud mask. And they'll just keep dicking around talking about the mud mask and, not only miss the point of the sketch, but fail to recognize my smooth and glowing skin. But I don't know, if the zeitgeist does suddenly change and people become interested in uniting against a much bigger enemy that's been right in front of our faces for quite some time, maybe I will put it out. I don't know. It's possible. I don't know. I did it again, man. I'm so sorry. I should have had your next question queued up. I'm so sorry. What did I say that as? If you do decide to release it, what sort of reaction? Okay, this is it. All right. Here we go. Should you? If you.
Yes. Should you?
If you
choose.
If you.
Yes. If you do decide to release this, what sort of reaction would you hope for?
What sort of reaction
would you hope for?
Would I hope for? What
would you hope?
Would I hope for? What sort of?
Would you?
Would
hope
I hope
for?
Yeah. What sort of reaction would I hope for? I would hope at the very least we could start asking ourselves some basic questions. As a satirist, sometimes I have to watch rubbish in order to comment on rubbish. And I managed to catch about 5 minutes of this 8-hour concert that was called the One World Together Home Alone something, sponsored by some group called Global Citizen. And the part that I caught, I saw Stephen Colbert, supposedly this great political satirist. He made some joke about Bilbo Baggins before handing it over to Bill and Melinda Gates with, hey, Bill and Melinda, what's the next steps? And they had their little chat, and then it went to an IBM advert. And I know there's a bunch of techno geeks that are probably watching this now going, IBM is not Microsoft, and Bill Gates has said some bad things about AI. He said some good things too, but he's also said some bad things, so get your facts straight. But the point is, it's the same techno slop that's been foisted upon us for decades. So, in that advert, in that IBM advert, on the screen at one point came this. It said, AI is helping teachers in the classroom. So maybe one question we could ask ourselves is, what does AI help teachers do in the classroom besides not teach? And I think, and I hope a lot of parents are discovering this now, homeschooling their children, is that like this virus, education is passed on through a human-to-human transmission. preferably by educators who love their subject. And can artificial intelligence ever love its subject? Even if, God forbid, that subject is us, But another question, more specific to the sketch that we could ask is, one of the things that Bill Gates, in fact, the only thing that Bill Gates has ever extolled for when he's introduced by his sycophants, is the fact that he's pledged to give away at least half of his income, half of his wealth by helping other people. So one question we could ask ourselves is, how long does it take to fucking do that? Because there was an article that came out recently that says he's on track to become the world's first trillionaire. And I'm not against wealth, on principle at all. I'm not against wealth. I am skeptical of this moral dance that some rich people do when it comes to their own wealth, about they're conflicted about it, and they want to, and I don't know the corporate sophistry that's involved, but I guess the argument is you got to keep earning money so you can use more money to help more people, because you can't help people on an individual level. It's got to be a country at a time. There's no don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing, the charity coming from the human heart. There's got to be foundations behind it, and basically it's the equivalent of them playing like a large version of the board game Risk, but a more benevolent, or at least seemingly benevolent version of it, where they're just kind of shuffling countries around and helping whole populations at a time. So they're never actually down there with the poor people or the working people. They're always kind of just above, kind of manipulating things, which I think anybody should look askance at. And so that's one of the questions: is how long does it take to fucking get that? If you wanted to do something really, if you want to really experience the life of the average working man, he could give away all of his income overnight to all of these charities and live off of $1,000, maybe a couple grand a month, like the ordinary people, and then he might hear ordinary human conversations again. He away from the robots and the AI and the 5G proponents and all this stuff. He might actually hear real human conversation, like, I don't know, something like this.
Well, they say it's gonna be all 5G now.
What the hell was wrong with 4G?
Well, they say it's gotta be 5G.
What the hell for?
I guess some skateboard kid out in California wants to go out to an open field and put on a pair of goggles and pretend he's in a magical open field.
What the hell for?
Virtual reality, they call it.
What was wrong with reality?
Well, they say reality is bad for us. Too much climate change.
Too much disease.
Too much poverty.
Too much injustice.
Too much evil.
Too much good.
Too much sugar.
Too much spice.
Too much kindness.
Too much charity.
Too much love.
Too much romance.
Too much beauty.
Too much passion.
Too much nature.
Too much freedom.
Too much art.
Too much wisdom.
Too much life.
Too much perfection.
Too much God.
Yeah, God is a little too much. Because the word carries so much baggage, and it's like, it's like, 'cause I believe in humanity, like my parents believed, that's their thing, that, they're kind of like dinosaur people, but like I've always been kind of a rebel. So when I got into computers, that was my computers and humanity, computers.
Microsoft, proud sponsors of the human race.
Humanity, but God, that's kind of a little too much. But yes, humanity, you're working together through computers and humanity. It's that.